How's it going, everybody? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, and today I'm in the Netherlands, but not looking at windmills. We're going to be looking at some comic book stores in a couple cities. So join me.
From Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves.
We're kicking it off in Rotterdam with a couple of shops here, and the first one we're going to is Yendor Stripwinkel. So let's go in here and check out the graphic novel section, which there's a lot of graphic novels compared to what we have in America, which is just crazy. Because most of the time when you walk into a comic book store in America, they are filled with comics at the very front. And here, the first thing you walk into is graphic novels. Like, some of the stuff has been translated that I recognize, like Yellow Cab. And this book, Mortison's book, just got translated by Fantagraphics did that one. And then there's what we used to call black and white. And then, of course, this one just got translated, Brain Damage by Fantagraphics. So it's really cool to see these. And then, of course, Black Hole and Poe Clan and Calvin and Hobbes. I think we actually have those portable compendiums in America. I think over here are the ones that are used. And then, of course, what I'm really jealous about are these kind of collections that we have. We're starting to get better, though. Like, we're starting to get a lot of those in English. From Fantagraphics has been doing an amazing job translating a lot of the European stuff that has never been released in America. And oh my gosh, I think, yeah, this is the one. This is a Mobius section. How do we not have these kind of things? Although we do have several versions of Incal, and they actually have the humanoids versions of Incal here, but there's just so much that hasn't been released. It's really cool to see some of these too. Jim Lives, which is a follow-up to the Paul is Dead, printed over image. Black Sad, which is very popular here, of course. And then just huge editions up there of just different formats, which is amazing. And then we have a lot more graphic novels, stuff translated. Oh, Blueberry. That is one of the ones that I want so much in America. We don't have hardly any of that translated. I think we had a total of 3 or 4 of them, but that was it. And then a lot I don't recognize, which is just crazy. And let's look over here on this side. Some more graphic novels. Some of the stuff has been translated into English. Adaptations of novels. It's just awesome to be surrounded by so many different books. And they have different versions of the Duck books. And over here, we've had this Anne Frank graphic novel translated. And of course, Magnetic Press has been bringing over a lot of new things too. These are all in their original language. Makes me excited about what will come sometime, hopefully in the near future. So let's go over here. And over here is the young adult section, which that's what it's all about. The next generation, which of course have Pokemon, Yaiba, and Demon Slayer. But they have several titles. Several. Like,
Kijk, en dat je heel veel kijkers erin.
Amazing.
Groot was het niet, want hij deed het ook niet om die speler mee te raken.
Some of it I don't recognize though.
Ik heb niet eens gezien wat er gebeurde met die speler.
I recognize those characters, some of them.
Steeds zegt dan iets, ik helemaal imposeren.
And of course the manga section. Although some of those look like they were translated into English and some of them are available in hardcover. And I see like the Tokyo Pop symbol. So I think, yeah, some of the stuff is in English because that's definitely the Viz signature series of Fist of the North Star. Scotty Young's I Hate Fairyland. And Kodansha's Chobits. Oh, yes. I'm honestly surprised with the release and the popularity of Berserk. We only have Sailor Moon in that softcover format instead of a hardcover format. How has that not been released? Could be a licensing thing. Could be a licensing thing. And look, empty slots. And then just Prince Valiant over here. Oh, that's the Hal Foster stuff. Oh, these are classics. It's just amazing. I know I can't spend all day here because I gotta go and look at other shops, but this is just really freaking cool. And we'll look at the US comics upstairs. But they actually have the European albums here too. And the manga's over here. Like solo leveling. Okay. Some of them look like they were printed by Yen Press and Easy Press and Tintin. These are the ones I was looking for. The Kodansha versions of Holic. And more. And then we have more manga. And I mean a lot more. And upstairs is the American comics. So let's see what we got here. Some Image, Dynamite. Lots of Image. Some Dark Horse. There's the hardcovers. That's really cool. There's a magnetic press book too. And then we have Marvel. And DC. These are some of the latest graphic novels that have come out. I haven't seen an Omnibus yet, but I did see an oversized hardcover and a Treasury edition. Let's see. What do we got? Library edition of Avatar down here. Art books. Compendiums. And some hardcovers here. I do love that mixed in with the American comics are adaptations of the animated series, the X-Men animated series, the manga adaptations. And my favorite thing to see at shops, sales. With some Gunpla up here. Hey now, Epic Collections. I love that One Piece has its own little rack. Just with the different One Piece titles. And then more of the different albums and different sizes that they have, including Conan. So it's the first shop we're looking at. And oh, this is a famous ongoing Dutch comic here. I had to point that one out. So let's keep looking. And of course I have to talk about some of these books right here that were made here and published here, so that's really cool. Things that probably we won't get in America for a long time, or maybe never. And now I'm at Book Donner, which is kind of like a big bookstore, but they have several graphic novels as well as lots of manga. So we saw Marvel and DC over there, and then this is independent. Some of the stuff has come out America, some of it is from America. And then hardcovers and lots of manga. And Ronin. There's the Witch Hat book, the box set. And I think there's a deluxe edition coming out next year. Love seeing all these together of the Vagabond. And one day he'll continue it and finish it. And some classics over here, of course. But yeah, this is just like a bookstore, but just happens to have graphic novels, and I wanted to show just a little bit of it. Now we are at House of M Comics, which is basically lots and lots of single issues. So much single issues. It's crazy. I love it. And I was just talking to the owner, one of the owners, and he was telling me about how his pretty much everything that they have in here, like 90%, no, I think it's more than that, is American comics. That's what they sell. They have original art up here. Oh, this is so cool. So it's really cool to see American comics just being such a big part of these comic book stores up here. Yeah, I love the original art on the wall. But this is the home of collected editions. So let's go check out the collected editions House of M has. There's the House of M banner. There we go. And let's walk over here. Because behind all the single issues, and I'm not kidding, there's a lot of single issues. Behind the single issues are the collected editions. And I don't think, unlike the other store we saw earlier, I don't think they have any European comics, really. It's basically Marvel and DC, which, of course, we're all very familiar with. Oh, huh. Some of the stuff is out of print. Some of it's still in print. And there we go with some Omnis over here. Some Batman, Superman, Justice League, and even some Vertigo stuff. And then over here is the Marvel stuff. So we've got some Masterworks, a couple of Omnis, single issues, deluxe editions, Epics, and Marvel Premiere. Haven't seen those for a while. And then, of course, over here are more Marvel trades and essentials, my gosh. So, let's see here. Down here. And lots of Ultimate Spider-Man. And again, mostly single issues is what they have here, with lots of original art. I did forget to ask where the new comics are, because lots of these type of books, like boxes all over the place that are 1 for €3 or 10 for €25, 25 for €50. And then this is like,
If you love single issues, this is the store here for you. And you happen to be in the Netherlands and you collect the American comics, this is the place to come. This is really cool. And over here on the left-hand side, oh, it's the mythology book. I think that one, the hardcover is the one that's out of print. And then over here, Love, Justice. And let's look at one more time over here. And they, not just single issues, but they have toys as well. Lots of toys. And some DVDs. A little squirrel guy. Ultimate Spider-Man. And Transformers, my other big addiction. But this is House of M Comics.
And today we are in Amsterdam. I'm going to check out a couple stores here. And starting with Henk Comics and Manga. So let's check out what they have in this store. And looks like we're kicking it off with some toys. And anime and manga, which is always popular. Wasn't always the case. And we even have One Piece and that beautiful Nier figure there. Miku, which my kids love, so I gotta take pictures of that to see which ones they want. As while their Poppy is away in another country, I gotta get them something. Although I did see a Hello Kitty store over there. That Magneto is awesome. Whoa. Speaking of Hello Kitty, there's some merchandising there. Some Super 7 stuff, Transformers over here. And they do have a manga deluxe edition section. And the hardcovers and some Junji Ito. They have a section over here for light novels. And some of the anime toys. And over here, so, oh my gosh, I remember when Banana Fish was out of print. This is one that I've been wanting to check out. Some more of the new... Oh, I forgot that this was coming out. That's a lot bigger than I thought. I love Paradise Kiss. I forgot this was coming. So it's $29.99. And the art of Arcane. Some new releases. And lots of manga, including some classics that have been re-released in deluxe edition hardcovers. And over here are the JoJo getting their own little spinner rack. All right, let's look at graphic novels over here on this side. And some Marvel and DC. And some more manga over here. But this is on sale. I still haven't picked up Spriggan. Actually, I need this one and this one, so those might be going home with me. And of course, Marvel Omnis, DC Omnis, the EC Archives. the slipcase editions. So I think those were originally released by, before Dark Horse had them, it was Russ that was putting them out. And some Image books.
The Labyrinth books.
And over here we have DC trades, including some compendiums. And speaking of compendiums, there's some compendiums down here for Spawn. Some Marvel Omnis in boxes. What are these? I thought that was a artist edition for a second. So this is the stuff that we get released in America. So it's really cool to see it here amongst the Dutch graphic novels and European graphic novels that we don't get. And single issues from DC and Marvel and Dynamite. And, oh, the Mighty Marvel Masterworks. Those were so fun. And some of the recent issues. The Ninja Turtles Naruto. But I mean, it started something big, so they did something right.
They did.
Yeah. Apparently everybody was happy. The license holder and IDW. So that's really cool. No matter how far I go, I can't get away from a new printing of the Death and Return of Superman. And they have some absolutes here. Now we find ourselves at Lambiek, which has a lot of traditional Dutch comics, graphic novels and albums, but also American. And of course we're greeted at the door by Vampirella, that beautiful piece. And then lots of stories and books that have never been translated. Some of them have, by Humanoids and Cinebook and Fantagraphics. But it is so cool to see stores like this just carrying graphic novels with different types of material, and just to see like the differences in how big the formats are. Like, I love Black Set, and I would love Dark Horse to collect a big collection like this, like oversized. They've done a big deluxe edition, but like a big library size. Just absolutely stunning, because these books deserve it. And these are children's books down here. And oh my gosh, there's a Mobius print. That's so freaking cool. So let's actually go downstairs, and then we'll come back up here to look at the other albums. Now, I recognize a lot of these, so these have been translated into English. These were released recently in a box set by Magnetic Press. Prepbacks is a series I always wanted to get into, but missed out on the first couple, and then they reprint them, and I forget. So even independent. Oh my gosh, that Flash Gordon by Alex Rim. It's huge. Then you have Image, compendiums, and then more of these big books. Hey, there's an Omni and Walt Kelly's Pogo, and Chester Gould's Dick Tracy, which right now Clover Press is actually going to run a Kickstarter. Or no, Spacker it? Maybe it's one of those crowdfunded to do them in a complete softcover edition with slipcases. There's the Sin City Library editions, which were 2 box sets. And wow, some of these I haven't seen in a long time. Some of these are out of print. Sony Presses Lights. Oh my gosh, that trilogy, the whole Sheets trilogy, just wrecks me. It's so good. Akira just recently reprinted in a hardcover format. So it looks like this is the hardcovers right here for the manga. And, oh, now that's really cool that they have the English humanoid translations of some of these books that you can find here in the original language. And then the big albums over here. Winsor McKay's Little Nemo over there. And some more over here. I really enjoyed Precious Rubbish. One of my favorite reads this year. Mafalda. My dad was a big fan of that. Esther of Pan. Oh, I love those books. Magnetic Press is doing a killer job bringing them to America. And what do we got on this side? Comic book stories. And over here, the Hip Hop Family album there. And Simone Press Books, Fantagraphics, and 2000 AD. Yes, what is this? Okay, let's go back upstairs and film that room up here. And now looking at the other side, where we have more of the albums, and some of the stuff has been translated from the original English. And it's really cool. I was just talking to some people here, really nice, and just talking about the history of the store, that it is the oldest store in the Netherlands. So it's got quite a history. That's really cool. And Sundays right here, printed by Fantagraphics. So there's a lot of the books that have been translated into English. And this one here is The Road, which I keep forgetting to order. And this is the adaptation of The Road. And the artwork is just stunning. Absolutely stunning. But over here, oh, here's the new Metal Harland that Humanoids is working on. And of course, they're a European publisher too, so it's easy for them just to make the translation. But I think for the most part, those Metal Harland, at least the hardcovers, are just going to be through their Kickstarter. It's the only way to get it. And then the soft covers are available for everybody, for retailers. But I think there is a retailer option for the hardcovers too.
Ja, precies.
It's really cool to talk about these type of books with people over here. It's awesome. It's not just Batman, Superman, X-Men, although I love talking about that stuff too. But pretty cool. And this is the Lord of the Flies by a Dutch creator right there, that adaptation. All right, let's keep on walking. If you're walking around Amsterdam, there is this store, CIA, Comics Import Amsterdam. And apparently they have a lot of American comics in here. So we're going to walk through these doors and check out what exactly is in here. So now we are inside CIA. This is pretty cool. Where you have to knock on the door because it does seem like it's a house. And they have lots of comic books, single issues in here, which we'll look at here in a little bit. But a ton, and I mean a ton, of collected editions just on these type of, it looks like homemade bookcases. This is so cool. Some Marvel Omnis, some trade paperbacks. And in this area right here, I'm not gonna lighten up the video. This is exactly what it looks like. It's dark back here. It looks like almost like a warehouse, but it's really cool because this is the kind of shops that I enjoy. The shops that are just kind of putting things wherever they want. And if you find it, good for you. Although it seems like the manga seems to be in alphabetical order. But that's really cool. And it goes all the way back here. And I'm sure there's many, many treasures back there. But over here, now we have Image. So we saw some of the Marvel, we saw some of the DC books, and now Image, and then we're back to the manga. So this is kind of gives you an idea of like when you walk in through the store, it's like an old library. It's pretty cool, and you smell it like that old book smell. And then they actually have single issues too. So we'll look at those really quick. and some of them are in Dutch. Dutch translations of Spider-Man, for example, right here with Chance. The classic David Michelini and McFarlane. It's been translated. Unfortunately, they don't make them like that anymore. And then the new issues, so they do get single issues, Marvel and DC. It's one of the few stores. A lot of those stores here in the Netherlands that we visited, that I talked to the owners, the ones that I could film, even ones that we couldn't film, said that it's been a problem trying to get single issues because of the whole Diamond debacle, and some of them don't even carry new issues anymore just because of how difficult it is to carry. So this is really nice. This is one of the few stores that we've been to that this is actually selling new single issues of not just Marvel and DC, but also Image titles, and there's a couple Dynamite titles and Dark Horse titles. That's really cool. And then of course the back issues. Oh, this is so cool. Just to see it in a different language is so cool. Oh, first appears Captain Marvel. Whoa, even the graphic novel was translated into that size. That's cool. And then of course your single back issues with Savage Land Rogue back there. We need a Savage Land Rogue and a Savage Land Storm miniseries. And then the big collections up there. Wow, how that is one strong piece of wood and some absolutes up there. And again, some of the stuff is translated into Dutch. Some of them are in English. This is the kind of comic shop I grew up going to and visiting. Just scattered about everywhere. Nothing but comics. And that is CIA. Okay, I know I was supposed to stick to the Netherlands, but I decided to take a quick little day trip to Belgium with my brother. And we came to Brussels, and I thought, okay, well, let's look around Brussels for perhaps some comic book stores. And we found some are closed, but there are some that are open. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna go around here. So snuck this one in, just supposed to be the Netherlands, but came to Brussels. So let's check out what some of these stores look like. Our first stop is Léviathan, or Léviathan, I think is how you pronounce it, from the world of Pokemon. So that's the first thing you see when you come through the door, right here. The inspiration. But this is a really sweet store. I have a lot of different graphic novels here. And also some manga, which we'll look at here in a second. Oh, there's the Akira Lone Wolf and Cub, which we're finally getting in deluxe format later this year. Dragon Head right there, which is huge in Japan. I don't think it's been translated into English, and Blame. Oh, we need Bio Omega in that format. And then we have some other books. Some of this has been translated into English before, and some of it we don't have. Some of it looks really familiar because some of the creators, their works have only been translated like 1 or 2 books. So it's really cool to look at this. And then the manga. Feeble. This is the stuff that has been translated, and it reads from original right to left format. And some of the stuff we don't have in America yet. But it's pretty cool how just different countries have a huge different following for different types of books. And we all love Taiyo Matsumoto. And while it's a bit of a smaller store, it's really cool just how much it's filled with books. And also over here, which a mix of some books I recognize. What I haven't seen yet is some of the books that have been translated into the English language. 1629. Oh, Brussels. Shit. That one has for sure. And over here, Let's come over here and look at this lot where we have some more manga. Completely just decided to take a one-day trip. And Shin Zero, which we're getting by Magnetic Press in America, but because it was a French book by 619, it's been released here in Europe already. And then other titles down here too. There's Monsters. That's wonderful. Forgot to look at these books down here, which are just different sizes and different formats, like the smaller scale books. And that's what the store looks like. It's amazing. It's really cool. Like just how compact it is, but there's so much to find. You got Mobius and Incal there. And then the classic stuff like Watchmen. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Paul. And now looking at the actual walls, because I love the different decorations that we have. It's really cool. Some of them looking familiar. Familiar faces. And Dragon Ball Z. You have a great shop, man.
Thank you.
And Calvin and Hobbes down there, yes. So this is the next stop. I know it's a little bookstore, but they might have graphic novels. And it's Piola Piccola. And judging by the window here, we got wine and coffee, and there's Dylan Dog. So yeah, let's walk in here and see what it's like. So we're looking at the graphic novel section, which isn't very big, but it's pretty cool that they still have them even in little stores like this, which serve coffee and wine. But you've got things like text, which has been translated in English, and of course classic stuff like Calvin and Hobbes. And I was trying to look at these over here. Nathan Never. I don't think I've heard of that character. So it's pretty cool to see just different types of stories here that we don't get or have even heard of. But like I said, a small section, but pretty cool to find it even in a little coffee and wine shop that primarily focuses on books. Now we are looking at the Skull, which is another shop here in Brussels. So let's open up the door here, and immediately we have graphic novels there and over here. Some of them may be familiar to you all. Some of them maybe not. But I wish Lucky Luke was as popular in America as it was here. And I know Cinebooks tried. But maybe we need a bigger collection, a thicker collection of Lucky Luke. That would be awesome. And then we have some Marvel trades down there. Like, what do we got here? Oh, never heard of those guys. X-Men? Yeah. So it looks like, oh, this is the Dawn of X stuff. Awesome. Now, so far, of course, we visited 2 little shops. I haven't seen any new single issues. Just lots of manga and lots of European, of course, graphic. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Look at this. Hellsing. That's awesome. Ours is bigger, but not that size matters. But it's really cool to see that edition. Oh, there's Atelier. Wait, I think we're getting a deluxe edition of Atelier. And here we go with some of the manga. Across the wall there. That's so cool. And let's see here if we recognized anything that has been released. And by the way, when I say it's wall to wall, it is insane just how many different graphic novels with different formats are available. That's so cool. Like, we can't even keep the Incal in print in America. I know we have a limited edition. Actually, I take it back. There is the standard size hardcover that is still in print. And then some of the stuff has been released by, of course, Magnetic Press. Actually, I see quite a bit of Magnetic Press out there. Some Matthew Bublé stuff. And Thorgal's another book that Cinebooks was releasing that I was keeping up with, but I don't think it made it that far. I want to say I had like 6 files. No way. Superman. Meshy. Can't get away from that book. Oh, Holic. Let's see what version this is. This must be well, it's Belgium, so never mind. I got excited. I thought it was a newer edition. I keep forgetting not everybody sells the American versions of the books. Just how many different titles there are with different topics, different creators, some of them looking very familiar. And over here, I'd love to see a shop like this. Then again, my town is a little bit smaller. There we go. Now we got some trade paperbacks here. Some X-Men. These are in hardcover, but they're standard size hardcovers. No Man's Land. Some more books down here. Oh, look at that. ROM. That's awesome. Long time coming, but we finally got a collection in English. There's the new Namor series. I wonder, is that a hardcover? Or is that, no, that is a hardcover. Nowhere Man. Wow, they already have the hardcover version of All New Venom. We have the trade paperback in America. There's the Turtles. Savage Sword of Conan is getting a hardcover here. That's what I wish that Titan would do. Maybe we'll get it when they have more releases. Yes! That book right there, Hell Hunters, is so good. So ridiculously awesome. There's some adult material back here. Not back here, but back behind me. Yeah, I don't want YouTube to pull. Oh, dude, that's the stuff we need. We need more of Punisher. When we got Back to the War, would love a follow-up to that Omnibus. And this is the Immortal X-Men in hardcover format. And let's go back here, where we have like different albums. Almost feels like a library. And look here. Recognize those guys. So we got a couple Omnis. That's awesome. So down here, we're going through a spiral staircase, is where we're going to find the second-hand books. So it's like the basement part of the bookstore. Showman Killer, Jodo's book. That's been available through Humanoids in the library format, the Jodo library. So this is second-hand albums, it looks like. European albums. Some of it, like I said, might be familiar to there is a lot. And this is my kind of shop. The shops that are just semi-organized, but also you can just have fun getting lost and trying to find things that you have been looking for, you may not even know exists. So, some manga too. So yeah, secondhand stuff. And let's go back upstairs. This is the Doctor Strange book by Panini. So they do a lot of collections like that, and of course Silver Surfer, and those just came in. But this is that black sat format that I wish we would get. They're huge books compared to what we ended up getting. Hopefully, once we get a couple more, the Dark Horse, almost said DC, would reprint them in a bigger, taller format. And there we have some of the more newer releases down here. Of not just manga, but also, of course, these bigger books up here. Recognize some of these names here. And some of them, I've seen at the other shops. I think that's Beauty right there. Really like that creator, or I think it's 2 people, and they change up their style every time they come up with something new. So I think this is the size of a black sat we're getting in America, and then this is the bigger, most badass format. And then just like the other shops that we saw, there's lots of original art too. Very freaking cool. And that is the skull. And then unfortunately, because it's just the way they operate, some stores are closed today. Sometimes they're closed on Sunday, sometimes they're closed on Mondays, Tuesdays. So yeah, well, let's keep going. And unfortunately, because I decided to come on Tuesday, it's just a random day, it was last second, some stores like this that I would have loved to have gone into are closed too. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. So cool just to see this on my way to another shop and recognize so many of these characters. But apparently they specialize in Tintin, and maybe that's not even what that means. And the last stop for today is comics and drinks, which are two of my favorite things. So see exactly what they have in here. Out here we have a lot of Smurfs and Tintin, but in here immediately you see the manga and trading cards and lots and lots of manga. And I was just talking to my brother about this, like the fact that they have volumes of, for example, Dan, which in America we have up to volume 13, but over here it's up to volume 19. So they get them a lot quicker, a lot sooner, plus a whole lot of different titles and different formats, as we saw earlier with Berserk. And speaking of Berserk, here it is again in this beautiful hardcover with those etchings. Oh man, but lots and lots of different manga, including the stuff up here that is kind of like your high end and just different formats, like that Promised Neverland. It was really cool to get a box set in America, but over here they have these beautiful leather bound editions. City Hunter, which we're finally getting by Kana Manga, it is in softcover, but over here there's hardcovers with dust jackets that are available. Very freaking cool to see that. I love just the different formats and just the popularity. Planetis, we're getting 2 volumes over here. It looks like there's the 3-volume set, Monster, of course. And some of it is due to Dragonfall. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. Some of it has to do with the license holder. The license holder doesn't want the any of the translations to be in hardcover format. I know I've talked to several publishers, like, why don't you release this in a hardcover format? Why isn't this manga released in a hardcover format? And it's a lot easier said than done, because sometimes the license holder just wants to keep it in the traditional tankobon size. Sometimes they don't want any bigger format. And this is webtoon books, and there's quite a variety of this. Of course, we're going to look at some of the US stuff too. So this stuff right here is all in English. Hence, English. So that's cool that I actually bought a couple of volumes. It was one of the shops in Amsterdam of things I was needing, and I'm like, oh, I can read this on the plane. Cool. And then, of course, very, very jealous of the different books they have here that just look so interesting. Like, I have no idea what they're about, but because they haven't been translated into English, it's like I can just admire the artwork. And there was also the kit section in the very beginning. And some of the stuff in here looks familiar. And here we have, again, some more graphic novels. And this is for younger audiences over here, which is very cool, because that is very important. It's not about the older generation. It is now about the next generation of readers. That's what it's all about, or at least to me. That's why I'm a big pusher for the young readers on my channel. I always tell people, like the kid graphic novels that are out, in case you want to read to your kids. And of course we have Smurfs, but I think that's very important. And I was just actually talking to the store owner, because I know they're Tintin is probably what they're most famous for, but they were also telling me about this series right here, which is a historical series. and just the different years. And then, of course, the Tintin books, which we have this edition, but they weren't in hardcovers. Or at least I have. I think I had to buy it from Australia, if I'm not mistaken. But it was in English. It was released in English. So it had that going for it. And some of the stuff, again, has been released by Dark Horse, by Magnetic Press. Humanoids. Humanoids has been doing a lot, but like I mentioned earlier, depending on the way that I'm putting these this video together, well, I might be repeating myself. I think they've done a lot more crowdfunding books lately instead of just making them available for retailer. But there is like a retailer option for books. And some of the stuff in here looks like historical fiction. Then there's the new Metal Herland. Then again, the Humanoids in America is doing their own thing. That's what I meant by doing a Kickstarter version of that. And Matthew Bablé. These are books I keep seeing everywhere here. Corto Maltese, I think, I say Maltese. Actually, I want to say Fantagraphics is going to start releasing them. Is it in color or is it in black and white? I can't remember. I actually need to talk to my contact at Fantagraphics to see exactly how it's going to be released in America. I almost said here, but I forgot where I am. Not the US. And just different formats again. Now let's look over here, where we have lots of other books. Some of it has been translated. Some of it is stuff like by Image Comics. I had no idea that it was originally released in Europe. A lot of it, of course, in French. Then we have some toys, of course, because we gotta have toys. Including some very familiar faces. There's a Bai Shoujo. That's Captain Future. I grew up watching that show when I was a kid. It's up there with Captain Harlock as some of my like early anime. Gambit versus... Is that a series? Deadpool versus Gambit? I don't think I was familiar with that one. So we do have our Marvel stuff. We've got some Image stuff up there, including a huge version of The Walking Dead that I don't think I've ever seen. Marvel again. Some stuff by Panini. And then you have DC. Some Image stuff. And there we go. There's Batman. Some of the newer releases, like the Treasury editions, too. So this stuff is in English. Six Gun. And then this stuff is in French over here, including some of the Marvel and DC superheroes. Although that is a Predator omnibus. Yes, I love when I can spot an omnibus. Even at shops like this. And I think this is erotic stuff over. Oh yeah, of course it is. It's Manara. Oh, wait a second. Manara, you say. And yes, some Marvel stuff here. So this is what it's like to come to Brussels, at least, this part of Belgium, and experience the comic book stores. They're a lot different. And even the smaller one that we started out with was really cool because of the different things that they had. But it kind of gives you an idea in case you're in town and you're like, or I guess visiting, or you live in Europe and you're lucky enough that's to go for a weekend or something. But this is comics and drinks. I didn't see the drinks. I need to ask about that. And that was a really quick tour at some of the comic book stores here in the Netherlands. What I've learned, some of the stores are closed almost every day except Saturday. Some of them are closed a couple of days a week, random hours. And a lot of them are having problems ordering single issue comics. That's the biggest problem I've seen. A lot of complaints about single issues because of distribution. So it was very rare. Even some of the stores that we couldn't film in, very rare that they got American Marvel or DC or even Image Comics. But starting to rain, that's another thing. Come ready for the weather. It changes constantly. It's cool, wonderful, and unexpected. But thank you so much for watching. Until the next time, I guess that would be Germany when I film over there. That's it. Stay healthy and safe. Much love.